Jessica. Welcome to Frosty Acres. If you watched the last video, you know that I was planning to do a separate video with just all my crafting stuff for the last month and for what I have planned for 2023. I've got a lot of plans and I've gotten a lot of stuff done. So the first three projects, I'll start with my knitting. I knit with Phoebe's yarn. Phoebe is one of my alpacas. She is 4 years old. And I knit a pair of mittens with a matching hat. This is for one customer. And these are all dyed by me as well. And then for another customer, I knit this hat. And she's also going to get a pair of mittens and a cowl to go with that. I have, in addition to, I've got 5 more customer orders to knit before I'm all done with them. And then 2 pairs of mittens, another hat, a cowl, and a gnome. I wanted to start the mittens this weekend, but I use these little 9-inch circulars and the tips are really dull. So I think I need to get a new one because the last pair of mittens I knit was not fun. It was a real struggle. And then I've got major knitting plans for this year. I tried to make a sheet of everything just because of how much I've been doing. So in January, I started 7 projects. I have finished 4 of those. 3 knitting and 1 cross stitch. And then I started 2 long-term projects. One is knitting, and I'll show you that in just a bit because it goes along with my goals for 2023. The other project I didn't show you is a gnome that I knit for my niece Brynlee, and I'll post a picture of that right there. And then I worked on 2 whips for a total of 9 projects. And I'll get more into that because some of these are cross-stitch, but I'm going to do all my knitting stuff first. So my goals for 2023, finish all my customer orders. And I accidentally posted a hat on, or I posted this hat on my Facebook page yesterday. I meant to just post it. I have an Instagram that's just kind of a knitting scrapbook where I keep track of all my projects. And it posted there, and like I got a bunch of people asking me if I can make them, or if that hat was for sale, or if I can make them hats. And right now I'm not taking any more orders. Excuse me, because I'm not sure if I will have enough yarn. I've got to finish all these and then reevaluate how much yarn I have and what I can dye. Because this was a very popular color. Everyone really loved it. But my friend Kesha, as soon as I posted this on this yarn on my Facebook page, she goes, "Can you make me a set?" She's like, "I want it all. I want all that yarn." She'd have loved it. So finish up customer orders, finish up the month-to-month series, which I'll show you again in cross stitch. I want to finish up my my Nordic Nights sweater by Jennifer Steingass by July, so I can enter that in the fair. I have a couple other cross-stitch projects I want to finish up. Platinum Jubilee, which I'll post a picture here, and Silent Night, and I'll post a picture here. All right, I'm going to take a little break here and move the camera and show you what my other projects are. All right, so I have a scrap drawer right here. And one of my goals for 2023 is to use up the yarn that's in there. So one of my other starts for January, and this has no date that it needs to be finished by, is a scrappy blanket. And I'm not doing a certain number of rows for each color. I'm just using up whatever I have left of that color before I start the next row, because I don't want anything left over from this. And then when I was going through my scraps, I remembered I had made these mittens again, or a couple of years ago. These are the chalk drawing mittens, and they are by Lisa Ross of Paper Daisy Creations. I think that's the name. I entered those in the fair last year, and I won champion, grand champion, and I got a blue ribbon for them. And like I said, I remembered that I had scraps from that, and I think those scraps will be enough. Here's the main color. And I think they'll be enough to make the matching hat, because I have a lot of scraps left from that. I don't think I even used half of it for the mittens. So that is on the list, the Chalk Drawings hat by Lisa Ross, and I will post a picture of that right there. And then, what else did I have on my list? Oh, Sarah Shira, who is the designer that designs all the gnomes that I make, she did it's called a scrappy, or textured striped scrappy hat. So I've been going through this and labeling stuff and putting it in little baggies. So this is the yarn I hope to use for that. I might need a little bit more. It says, I think it requires 60 grams, and I haven't weighed this yet. And then Herding Cat Socks by Stone Knits. I'll post a picture of that there. Being the crazy cat lady that I am, of course I need those. So I've started putting the yarn in here. I'm going to use purple as my main color. And I've got a black cat, orange cat, and gray cat. Actually, I've got 2 black cats, but so there'll be more black cats in the other 2 colors. But I'm not going to do, sorry Mittens, no white paws or chest for your kitty. That's going to be on here. So that's my bag for that. And then last fall, I knit these cute little witches. And these are by Susan B. Anderson. You maybe saw those before in one of my other podcasts. They also have a little cat that goes with the pattern. And then some little pumpkins. So I've got some yarn set aside in a baggie to do all of those. One of my other goals, knitting-wise, and this has nothing to do with scraps, is to make hats for my brother-in-laws and my nephews. I always make gifts for my sisters and my nieces, but I decided this year is going to be the year that I make something for them. And I'm leaning towards the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Tig. Several of the vlogs that I watched, they've made that hat, and it looks like a nice, easy knit. It'll also be double lined, which I think the guys will like. Now I just got to decide which yarn to use for that, and I don't think any of the yarn that I have in my stash will work for that. So more on that next month. All right, so now on to cross stitch. So as I mentioned, one of my goals for 2023 is to finish the month-to-month series, and I need to fully finish it yet, but here is February's. There's the button, and here is the large one, and then let's see, I also started another new cross stitch pattern. Again, this doesn't have a deadline or anything on it. This is called Falling Snow by Shannon Christine. And this is my snow day project. So I only work on it when it snows. And originally my idea, and I think I told you guys about this in the last video, was to work on one motif every time, or to stitch one motif every time it snowed. Well, they took a little longer than I thought they would. So I've just been working on it as much as I can whenever it snows. And this is my progress on that so far. And then for Whip Go, which for those of you that aren't into cross stitch, you probably don't, who don't know about it. It's kind of like bingo. You make a board and they're numbered, and each month 2 numbers get pulled. So I put all my whips on there, as well as adding some potential new projects on there to make or to work on in 2023. So the first one that was pulled was Favorite Toy. And this is my progress on that. Kitty's got a nice fluffy tail now. And then the other one that was pulled for January was Platinum Jubilee, this is one of the projects that I'm hoping to finish in 2023. And I really don't have that much left to do on this. I don't think I'm going to do all of this writing around the picture. I think I'm just going to do it, just her face or in profile. That way it kind of looks like a black and white photograph. All right, let me check my list here. So you probably wonder, I have a lot of projects going on, and since I have projects that I'm getting paid for, why don't I just get all those done first? Which is what I've done in the past. I used to, when I'd have a bunch of orders, I would stay up until 11 o'clock every night from the time I got home and got done with chores till the time I went to bed, working on customer orders. And I really got burnt out that way. So now my goal is one customer order per week. When I finish an order, I get a day off from customer orders and get to work on something fun. And also on work nights, well, the customer order takes priority. I work on that for a couple hours, and then I give myself a time to either do a little cross stitching or like work on that scrappy blanket. That scrappy blanket is bringing me so much joy right now. I'm so shocked at that because I've kind of wanted to make a blanket for years, but I'm like, well, that's going to be like knitting a really big scarf, and I hate knitting scarves. But I'm really enjoying this one, and it's just super easy. There's no deadline, and I think part of the joy is I'm constantly changing colors, so I keep wanting to keep working on it so I can get to the next color. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I found, like, when I was getting really burnt out with that knitting, I just took a week off from knitting, did something else, either knit something for myself or did some cross stitching, and then I would get the momentum back up again, because it got to be such a slog where it's like I was knitting so slow just because I wasn't enjoying it. So now if I give myself a break, I actually am more productive than I would if I only worked on projects that I was selling. So it has increased my productivity to give myself a break. I mean, we all know that. It's like you slog through the day and you think, oh, I just need to get this one more thing done and then I can take a break. But you realize if you just take a break, get a little rest, get something to eat, whatever, you get re-energized and it makes the rest of the work a little easier. So, and it's not that I don't enjoy knitting for other people. It's just sometimes I want to knit for me. Sometimes I want to knit something just because I want to knit it, not because somebody else wants to buy it. And, you know, when I first started this, I was never knitting for myself. It was always for other people. And always the same things, which, I mean, I love knitting mittens. They're one of my comfort knits. And I'm really, really enjoying the hats right now, too, for some reason, which normally I don't enjoy hats, but I'm really enjoying them. So hopefully that continues since I've got 5 hats to make for my brother-in-laws. But it is important that you give yourself a break and do something for yourself, too, and not just work all the time. And with that regards, I'm going to talk about my wish list for 2023. So the first one is called The Scullery Cat by Sarah Kellner. And I've had this yarn for years. It's by Lola Bean. It's a beautiful orange that she dyed in honor of Gigi Made It. And I've wanted to make something cute and cuddly with that. So I'm going to make that. And I'm going to post a picture of that right here. It's going to be so cute. I think Fred's especially going to love it. He seems to have a thing for orange yarn. Anytime, I mean, he likes to sit with me when I'm knitting, but if it's orange yarn, he's obsessed. And then the cupcake hat, I thought my niece Brynlee would really enjoy that. She turns 10 this year. Maybe I'll even get it done by her birthday in May. I'm going to post a picture of that right there. And then I've been watching a lot of Knitty Natty, which is where I got the idea to use up my scrap yarn. And she posted, or one of the videos I was watching, she was wearing her Sweetheart socks, which is a pair of Colorwork socks. And I'm going kind of back and forth between, do I want to knit this from scraps or do I want to buy the set from Moonglow? I think it's Moonglow yarn or Moonglow fibers. I can't remember, but there's a sock set made up for that and it's super cute. And so we'll see. So on to other things. I decided I've always done a little knitting journal, but usually it was just for projects I'd never been before or done before or new techniques. This year I decided to journal everything I make, and it's not just knitting. I've got my knitting and cross stitch. And I did really want to buy Justine from Welcome Stitchery. She has a project journal that she created, and I've got some project pages for it. I think they're in here. But I had this notebook that my aunt gave me, or this journal, and it's so stinking cute. I'm like, you know, I'm going to really try and use what I have this year. So I'm journaling everything I make this year, not just the new things that I'm trying. And so each one has an entry in the book. And then at the beginning, I made this little key so I can keep track of what I did each month. And how I'm doing that is I've got this in stencil. This is from Katrinkles, and I'll post a link in the description box. And so every time I put a little key down here. And so every time I finish a project, I put that little stencil on the line for the month. So there I'll have somewhere where I can go look and see, oh, I made a gnome in January, a pair of mittens, cross stitch project, and a hat. I know that just by looking at that instead of having to go through everything. And so on to my February plans. So I've already started the March month to month. This is what I have done. Here's the pattern. It's tulips this month. It's going to be so cute. I did make one change. The yellow that they used for the barn, which is $7.29 DMC, I did swap that out for a brighter yellow because that yellow is kind of a brownish yellow and I didn't like it. And then for WhipGo, favorite toy, which is the cat one, that was called again, and start a new project. And so my March month to month is going to be my new project this month. And like I said, I'm going to do one customer knit per week. And my sister wanted me to make a Valentine gnome. I'm kind of burnt out on gnomes right now, so I'm not going to make another gnome right now. Hopefully by the end of the month I'll feel more like making a gnome, so because that'll be about the time that it's due for me to, that'll be to my friend's gnome on my list of customer orders. So what else was I? Oh, I was going to talk about things that have been bringing me joy. So January, I think I told you this in the last video as well. Sorry, I keep saying that a lot. So I decided for January, I'm just going to focus on things that bring me joy. And it actually ended up being a pretty great month. I had my monthly Stitch and BE meetup. That's always the second week of the month, and that was the second week in January. And then the day after that, my niece had her dance recital, and I gave her her gnome, so there's a picture of that right there for you. And then the following weekend, we had 24 hours of cross stitch with Welcome Stitchery. So it was a fun month. And let's see what February brings. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you next month. Let me know if you like having the crafting and farm stuff separate, or if you like the mix and match. We'll see how this works. I might change things up a bit. You know, this channel is always a work in progress, always getting new ideas for changing things, doing things a little differently. And, you know, once spring gets here, there'll be a lot less craft because I'm going to be working outside. As soon as the snow melts, I am spring cleaning those barns, getting everything cleaned out all the way down to the floor. So they will be spick and span. Then I'll be getting ready for shearing, vaccinating the animals. Spring's a busy time. So right now I'm really enjoying just, you know, cozying up in the house with my kitty cats and my dogs and doing my knitting and cross stitch. But I am looking forward to warmer days. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.